NFL draft nerds, welcome in. It is Monday, December 16th, which means it is mock draft Monday here on the channel. Rogue Football, it is all draft all the time. With the week 15 slate almost entirely in the books, we do have some shakeups to the top of the draft order. Things have stayed pretty static, but there's been a little bit of movement. The Carolina Panthers' strength of schedule got harder, which means the Jaguars jumped ahead of the Panthers. Now, we do have one game left that does have some pretty big implications when it comes to draft order. The Raiders are taking on the Falcons tonight, Monday Night Football. If the Raiders win that football game, they will drop in the draft order. They're currently picking two. We've got the Giants and the Raiders, two quarterback needy teams at the top of this draft. I'll tell you what, this is going to be a what I would do mock draft, solely based on what I would do, trying to do my very best to improve these football teams and send them in the right direction. That's what we're doing here today. My draft philosophy hinges on tier-based rankings. It hinges on not reaching for need, but also having a strong understanding of roster management. We're not going to take an offensive tackle at the top of the draft if we have two young offensive tackles that we already feel good about, right? So, with all that in mind, we're going to dive into this one. I'm really excited, really appreciate y'all supporting the channel. As we go through this, let me know what you think about the picks in the comment section below. And if you enjoy what we're doing here, please like and subscribe. So, going to take y'all over to the NFL mock draft database here. Going to get this thing popping. And the Giants have the first overall pick. We're going to get it started. So, generally speaking, folks are picking the Giants to take a quarterback at 1 overall. And predictively, I would do the same exact thing. However, this is not a predictive mock draft. This is a what I would do mock draft. I don't think that the Giants are a quarterback away from being a really good football team. I don't. And I don't know that they have the infrastructure to properly support a Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders, right? Drew Aller, I think, should be in that conversation as well in this draft class. In a draft class like last year's, Drew Aller shouldn't be anywhere near the top, right? But I don't have a first round grade on any of these quarterbacks. And so if I don't have a first round grade on you, I cannot take you at 1. And so what should the Giants do here? In my opinion, they should take Travis Hunter and they should try to add a quality, probably not an upper echelon, but a quality starting quarterback in free agency or via trade. And maybe you take a swing at quarterback a little bit later where there's less risk involved. You're not passing on a potential blue chip player. So the Giants are taking Travis Hunter at 1 overall. I think he's a singular talent. And I think he's somebody that whether you're playing corner, whether you're playing receiver, very exciting. And you pair Travis Hunter up with Malik Nabers, that's going to be fireworks. With Tyrone Tracy and his athleticism in the backfield, yeah, sign me up all day. If you're doing that at wide receiver, or if you're playing him at corner, you now have a lockdown zone corner with incredible eyes, great ball skills, explosiveness, body control. Yeah, I mean, he won the Heisman for a reason. I think he should be the first overall draft pick for a reason. It's because he is the rarest talent, despite not being the biggest dude, the rarest talent I have seen in some time. And I think he can easily add some mass to his frame, 5-10 pounds, and be at a weight and a strength level that gets you to a place where with the rest of his traits, you just have an absolute superstar. Las Vegas Raiders, again, a quarterback needy team. I do not have a quarterback with a round 1 grade in this class. So what are we doing? Would have been cool if Travis Hunter was there. Could have taken him and used him at wide receiver or cornerback as well for the Las Vegas Raiders. Their offensive tackle situation's not great. I don't think there's an offensive tackle you take here. Would it be incredible to have Mason Graham, Max Crosby, and Christian Wilkins on the same line? Absolutely. Abdul Carter, same thing, although edge doesn't feel like as much of a need. Tetairoa McMillan, he is a Monstar. He absolutely is. Will Johnson is a fantastic cornerback, prototypical cornerback as well. Will Campbell, I have now adjusted rankings a little bit just outside of my blue chip tier. And T-Mac, Tetairoa McMillan is also just outside of my blue chip tier. The reason Will Campbell is not quite blue chip is because I project him inside. I do not have actual tape of him inside. So that's the situation there. So if we're taking best available, we're looking at Mason Graham, Abdul Carter, Will Johnson, Ashton Jeanty, and Malachi Starks. Those are my best available prospects here. Looking at the needs according to NFL Mock Draft Database and according to my own recollection, I mean, the Raiders have a ton of needs. I think that's pretty clear. We are going to take Will Johnson. Is that 2 corners off the board to start? Maybe. Depends on what they're doing over in New York with Travis Hunter. But Will Johnson is prototypical at the cornerback position. He's 6'2". He's over 200 pounds. He has the length. He has the football IQ, the diagnosis, the understanding of how teams are trying to attack their defense with route combinations, with leverage. He plays the ball extremely well. He can come downhill and play the run as well. And so now you're the Patriots, and you would have liked to have been able to add either of those 2 guys to your mix as well. But a couple really nice consolation prizes here. Abdul Carter, Mason Graham, Tetairoa McMillan, if you want to go get that alpha receiver to pair with Drake May, which might be the best decision. They desperately also need help on the offensive line. You constantly see Drake May having to move around back there. I think the best talent is Abdul Carter. I think the Patriots could obviously use more edge talent. And so that's what we're going to do. He has a rare combination of explosiveness off the ball, bend, and violence. He's not a finesse rusher. He has strength throughout his frame, explosiveness, speed to power. He can rush finesse. He can beat you around the top of the arc. And he converted from linebacker to edge full-time this year. You can rush him over the A-gap as well. Stand up. That's very scary for interior offensive linemen. I think he's a game changer for the New England Patriots. So the Jacksonville Jaguars are sitting here, and I ran my Jaguars mock draft this morning. I did not expect Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward to be on the board, and they should not be looking at either of those guys. But because I'm doing this, what I would do, we're not seeing the quarterbacks off the board. Whereas predictively, you probably would see Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward off the board. For the Jaguars here, you would have liked all these guys available to you, or at least a couple of these guys available to you. But we're going to take Mason Graham, which is what we did in my mock draft over on Gen Jag for the Jaguars this morning. Graham is a blue chip prospect, 6'3", 320 pounds. That is big. Like 320 pounds, that is a big boy, but incredibly quick, explosive, violent hands, has a developing arsenal of pass rush moves, already has a couple things that can absolutely destroy interior defenders. And I think it's rare to see his explosiveness at his size, but also the flexibility throughout his frame to corner is pretty awesome. So he's going to be a stalwart in the middle against the run and as a pass rusher for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Carolina Panthers, not drafting a quarterback. Bryce Young's playing pretty good football for the Panthers, so you're excited about that. Do you want to go get another big-time receiver? Tetairoa McMillan would be a lot of fun with Bryce Young. You could obviously use edge. I think that this is a little rich for James Pierce Jr., but he's right there. Running back is really interesting. Obviously, you signed Chuba Hubbard. Jonathan Brooks has now injured himself again, unfortunately. I shouldn't say injured himself. He has suffered an injury again, knee injury, so that's rough. I mean, Ashton Jeanty is the best player available on my board. That would be a lot of fun for the Panthers. And again, I'm not reaching. So the tier list right now features Ashton Jeanty, Malachi Starks, and That's it. So we're taking one of those players right now. Who's going to help us the most for the Carolina Panthers? I think Malachi Starks can play safety. I think he can play corner. He can play nickel. I just did a Carolina Panthers mock draft this past week, and looking at their situation, I think Chow Smith Wade has a chance to be a good nickel. You have J.C. Horn still, who hasn't been all smooth sailing, but he's certainly a starting caliber corner in this league. You could improve safety. Malachi Starks or Ashton. I'm going to say that Ashton Jeanty is going to have more of an impact for this football team. We have got a good run blocking offensive line. And so putting Ashton Jeanty in that type of situation makes a lot of sense. I love it. Ashton Jeanty to the Carolina Panthers. Never thought I'd be drafting a running back that high a few years back, but I mean, he is an amazing talent. And, you know, he and Bijan, Saquon, backs like that, they deserve to be up there. Tennessee Titans. How crazy it would have been for them to get an Ashton Jeanty after just losing Derrick Henry. They've got a lot of needs, and I don't think Will Levis is the answer. And again, this is predictive, so tough situation. Could Shedeur Sanders drop into that offense with the improved infrastructure up front and be able to make the type of, are they a quarterback away? I don't know. That's a tough one for me. Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward, Drew Aller. I think they've got work to do still from an infrastructure standpoint to be able to support those quarterbacks properly. I really do. Now, do the Titans need a safety? No, they don't. At least I don't believe they do. Let's check out their depth chart moving forward. All right. Looking at safety for the Titans, and I don't normally do, yeah, Amani Hooker is a really good football player. You know, they could potentially use another safety, but is that like a major need for them? No. I still think Malachi Starks would be a game changer on the back end for that defense, especially, you know, with that Ravens mindset that they brought over with their defensive coordinator this year. This is a tough one for me. But I'm going to stick to my board. They can use Malachi Starks. He will immediately insert into their starting lineup. And he's going to make them a whole lot better. Going to make it difficult for some opposing AFC South passing attacks and rushing attacks. Cleveland Browns. Now, this is the spot where I think Shedeur Sanders does start to make sense. It's still a reach, in my opinion. But with Kevin Stefanski, who's a great offensive coach, if you're able to kind of plug the holes a little bit at tackle, right tackle due to injury, left tackle due to poor play or inconsistent play, you could be cooking with gas here. You've got Jerry Jeudy. You've got some options to improve that wide receiver core. David Njoku as tight end should have a running game still. Still should have a very good defense. I think that's the spot for Shedeur. And I would do it. Even though Shedeur Sanders, I don't think he has as much upside as Cam Ward or Drew Aller, but I think he has the most steady projection to be a good quarterback in the league. Not a great quarterback, but like a good quarterback with his accuracy, ball placement, playmaking ability, athleticism within the pocket, within structure. I like that. The Jets, I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, I think Aaron Rodgers can still play, but very weird mindset over there. Who knows? We're gonna look to try to get the best available players that we can here. Now, T-Mac, if you still got Devontae and Garrett Wilson, that doesn't really make a lot of sense. I think James Pierce Jr. could be a lot of fun for them. Michael Williams would be a little rich for me at this spot. James Pierce is very similar. They're not the same prospect, but same type of role. as a Will McDonald, who they just drafted recently. We're going to take a player who is shooting up my board right now, and if I could redo my top 20 that I just dropped, he would be in it. It's Shamar Stewart. I know everyone talks about Michael Williams as the freakiest edge. Shamar Stewart's the freakiest edge prospect. 290 pounds, great length, super explosive off the ball, developing pass rush skill set, sets the edge at a high level. He's just a rare type of guy. Would love that. Continue to build around Quinnen Williams up front for them. And yeah, I know they have Jermaine Johnson. I'm aware. I think that Shamar Stewart can kick inside and play next to Quinnen Williams. I think he can play on the edge opposite Will McDonald and Jermaine Johnson. Just continue to build up that front. Hassan Reddick ain't going to be there next year. Chicago Bears. They could use the best offensive lineman on the board, and that's Will Campbell. I think he's an interior player, but they could use an interior player. And I would have him as a blue chip interior prospect probably if I had tape on him, but I don't. So that's an easy pick for me. New Orleans Saints would have really liked Shamar Stewart to be on the board, wouldn't they? The way they draft. I think it's between Michael Williams and Nick Scorton, but again, we're doing what I would do here. And I would take James Pierce Jr. if I need an edge, which I do. Yeah. I think he's just so explosive. And the way he has the quickness and bend around the outside arc, he's really good at crossing your face as well, and he can convert speed to power a little bit too. He's not like a small edge. He's over 250 pounds, or close to 250 pounds. On the smaller side, but not like one of these really, really thin dudes that doesn't have any strength. Miami Dolphins, they would have liked to see Malachi Starks still available here. I think it's a little early for Nick Emmanwori. My only question about him is like his true athletic upside. I think he's a really great cover 2 safety or box safety. They could use offensive tackle, interior defensive line. A lot of options here. What would I do in this spot? I know they don't need receiver right now, but Tetairoa McMillan is the best player on my board. Easily. Would give them a different body type at receiver. Tough decision here. I don't feel comfortable with Kelvin Banks at this spot. This is the range where like I have Walter Nolan, Kenneth Grant, Tyleik Williams, Derek Harmon a little bit lower for me. Colston Loveland is in this range. Tyler Warren as well. The top needs just don't fit where we're at right now. And so we're not going to pay attention to needs. We're going to get Tua somebody who can play some big boy football at receiver. Probably not going to be a popular pick there, but I think that he complements what they have at receiver extremely well with his catch point skills, his size, his frame. So Colts at 12. They could also use a safety. Oh, yeah, we're going to go Tyler Warren here. That's just too much fun. The way he could impact not only the passing game, but the running game for the Colts would be devastating for offenses. I mean, defenses, excuse me. Cincinnati Bengals, they need edge, they need corner. Jeez. I have Nick Scorton ahead of Michael Williams, not by a lot. I think it's close between those two. They could obviously use an interior defensive lineman as well. I think Walter Nolan has the most potential as just like a dominant 3 tech, creating pass penetration into the backfield, both as a pass rusher and run defender. Kenneth Grant is a nose tackle, unbelievable flexibility and explosiveness at his size, like 340 pounds, and a great run defender. I think either of those would really help solidify the spine of the Bengals defense. We're going to go Walter Nolan. Use him as a mismatch nightmare. Dallas Cowboys at 14. Ashton Jeanty, the common pick to them, not available this time. And as much as I love Omarion Hampton, Caleb Johnson, Nick Singleton, you're not taking one of those guys here, in my opinion. They could use, how about Kenneth Grant to replace Mossy Smith? That would be hilarious. I think we're starting to get to the point where Nick Scorton and Michael Williams are big values with their positional value. You know who I'm taking? Taking the best player available on my board. It's Luther Burden. I think if he was in a different situation, he would probably be viewed as the top wide receiver in this class. He's about 6 feet, just under, 205 to 210 pounds. His frame reminds me of, an athletic ability, reminds me a lot of Jamar Chase. And he has great catch point skills, just needs to develop as a route runner a bit. I think Luther Burden is going to be a stud at the next level, and that'd be a great pick for the Cowboys to support Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. I've seen this one recently, and I really like it. Josh Simmons, but coming off the ACL, that's a little sketchy. A little sketchy. I love Armand Membu. And I know on the NFL mock draft database, these consensus rankings and stuff, he's way down the board. But the only thing I've seen him struggle with is like the Monstar edge players. But when you talk about him going up against anybody who's not like 280 plus pounds, you know, players that aren't Shamar Stewart or JT Tuimoloau or Michael Williams gave him trouble last year. I think he would be fireworks with his movement ability, athleticism, pass sets, ability to get upfield as a run blocker, body control in this 49ers offense. Armand Membu. Getting spicy here. Atlanta Falcons, they could use, Michael Williams, Nick Scorton. I have Scorton a little bit higher than Michael, but Michael is the Georgia boy there. We'll go Michael. He has more upside, I think, than Scorton does still. So it's an interesting foil. And I think Scorton would be a great value here for the Cardinals. We're going to do that. Seattle Seahawks. Yeah. I love Tyler Booker. I love Marcus Mbo in this spot as well, wherever he's listed. Josh Simmons. A lot of different directions they could go. I got to go Tyler Booker. I just think, his physicality at the point of attack, both as a run blocker and pass protector, is special. He's a young prospect. He's ascending. He's a leader. He's an ass kicker. Love that for them. We're going to give Jim his boy from Michigan, Colston Loveland. It's either him or Kenneth Grant. I've got Loveland just a little bit higher on my board. Great receiving tight end that Jim Harbaugh obviously knows how to utilize his skill set. Tampa Bay Buccaneers have some good options. Does Chris Godwin depart? If he does, Emeka Egbuka is just a tremendous replacement. And this is exactly the type of spot where I think he should be valued. Los Angeles Rams, they need offensive tackle help pretty bad. I think Kelvin Banks is a guard. He might be able to play tackle. I worry a little bit about his body control, his balance. I would like Josh Simmons for them at this spot. I'm a big fan of Josh Simmons. I wish he didn't get injured this year. It really stinks. Washington. Don't think we're taking any of these receivers this high or a tight end. You could really improve the offensive line. Yeah, this is my Marcus Mbo spot. His flexibility and versatility, if Cliff Kingsbury is still calling plays, I think would be awesome. I think he's the best athlete at tackle in this class. He's aggressive. He's physical. Has the snatch trap, has independent hand usage. He's still developing. He can play guard. That's the type of infrastructure move for the Commanders I really like. Denver Broncos. They don't need offensive tackle, right? I mean, they got Garrett Bowles locked up. Is McGlinchey going to be a free agent? I don't know, but I think that looking at wide receiver and tight end, the top two needs listed, I'm not taking one of these guys that high, although I do really like Mason Taylor and Gunnar Helm. We're not taking a quarterback, obviously. We could look at maybe getting one of these top defensive linemen who are starting to become great values for me. Kenneth Grant, just such a stud on the interior. Have a hard time passing him up here. Think Caleb Johnson. I have him ranked above Omarion Hampton. He could be a cool fit. But let's go Kenneth Grant. He needs to come off the board. He's a damn good football player. And, the Ravens would probably have taken him if he was still available. The Ravens could use a Kelvin Banks, but and he's, at this point, he is my top-rated offensive lineman. I think Cameron Williams projects better at tackle than he does. But they could use IOL. Is there a cornerback that feels good for me at this point? Actually, yeah, there is. There's Arie Thomas out of Florida State. I need to see him run the 40. He doesn't get tested all that much, but his physicality at the line of scrimmage, it is devastating. And his length, he has fluid hips and quick feet for his size, over 6'2", 200 pounds. He feels like a Raven to me. And Siobhan Revell does too, but coming off that ACL, Benjamin Morrison coming off the hip. Houston Texans, we got to fix the interior or tackle. I mean, Jonas Avenea at guard, you feel decent about. I'm not a big Donovan Jackson fan at this point in the draft. Kelvin Banks could make sense for them. Tyleik Williams is my highest rated interior player. Young prospect, physical, athletic, disengages from blocks at a high level, has played at various weights. I would like him to drop some weight. Playing at 327 this year. Yeah, I think Tyleik Williams would really help unlock the rest of that defensive line group for them. Steelers, I think getting another lockdown corner or defensive lineman would be really fun. Obviously, they don't, defensive line is more of a projective need, like down the road. Could they be the Cam Ward destination? I like that. I like that a lot, actually. Develop him behind Russell Wilson. I could get on board with that. Let's do it. All right. Packers. Derek Harmon could be a fit. Siobhan Revell has been the obvious fit for a lot of folks here. I'm going to give you a name maybe you're not thinking about who's also not coming off injury. Darian Porter has been as shut down as they come at like 6'4", 195 pounds. He used to play receiver. Great athlete. Fluid hips, quick feet. He should sneak in to the first round. Vikings, cornerback, defensive line. They could use both. Let's go Revell. It's just too easy of a fit. Already wears purple and gold. Let's do it. Great length, great athlete. We'll make you pay. I think that, as long as Brian Flores is still there, that fit just is very solid. At 29, Buffalo Bills. Where are they going to go? I think as Donovan Ezuraku is a good fit here. If they kind of want to change up, not have one of those big edges. LT Overton fits as a big edge. Princely Omonmielen fits as more of a finesse guy. Mike Green. Landon Jackson is a little bit higher than he should be, in my opinion. JT and Jack, the Ohio State guys, they're going to be decent players. I just don't know how much upside they have. Derek Harmon would be a good fit here. Let's do it. Has a lot of balance to his game. He's quick, explosive, but also has good length, strength. He's productive against the run and as a pass rusher. Philadelphia Eagles, what type of steal can they get here? They're always just... Landon steals in the draft. And how about a steal for most people? Most people would consider this a steal. I wouldn't, because I just have a tough time projecting Jalen Walker a little bit. I don't think he's a great edge. I don't think he's a great linebacker. I do think he is a great athlete who, coming downhill, just attacking, is a fun football player. Yeah, we'll go Jalen Walker. I mean, they love drafting Georgia boys, and at this spot, I can feel pretty comfortable with it. How about Kelvin Banks for the interior of the offensive line for the Lions? I can see that fit for sure. Then the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously, offensive tackle looks like their biggest need. Josh Connerly has all the traits, but it's got a long way to go. Long way to go, in my opinion. Ursery, it's a little bit of a reach for me here. I think that he has the explosiveness, size, and length to be a decent starting tackle in this league, though. And if the Chiefs could just get decent at tackle, that would make them feel a lot better. So, yeah, I could see that fit. That'll do it. That's our top 32 picks. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this mock draft, please like, subscribe. We are all draft all the time here at Rogue Football. Really appreciate y'all's support. Have a good one.